podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host, Calvin, and joining me from New Themyscira, it's Nick Richardson, the co-host.
AKA Steve Trevor. Get me info.
You don't want to be Steve Trevor in this situation.
Someone's got to bite the bullet.
Yeah, but it didn't turn out good for him.
No, sadly it does not. What kind of fucking name is Steve Trevor too? That bugs me every time I read it.
It's a lame-ass name. It's not a good name.
It reminds me of Corey Trevor from Trailer Park Boys. If anybody gets that reference.
Never seen it.
It's funny. Moving on though.
We are here today to talk about DC Comics series Flashpoint Paradox. And what we're going to kind of do, one of my favorite DC runs. I don't do a lot of DC Comics, but this one is up there at the top of it. We're going to kind of try and move because Flashpoint creates this alternate reality, so we're going to kind of try and move through the characters and do kind of a character study of what happens to the characters in Flashpoint versus what happens in the main continuity of DC Comics, and we'll just move through it that way.
Sounds good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, bro.
I've read a lot of comics. I watched a movie. That's about it.
Yeah. I stuck with the comics. I didn't watch the movie this time around.
You didn't watch the movie. The movie's good. But it changes some things, and I've got some issues with some of the things it changes because the books do a really good job.
I'm eager to hear. Well, they just had all-star talent. They had Geoff Johns. I'm not really super familiar with the DC writers and, pencilers and stuff like that, but I know they had fucking top-level talent.
It was. I'm not too deep on DC writers either, but I know Geoff Johns is a good one. So this Flashpoint was written in 2011, and it was also adapted into an animated movie in 2013. And then it was very loosely adapted again into the CW Flash TV show. I believe it was season 3 for like the overall arc of that season. We won't talk too much about that because it's, in my mind, too loosely connected. Like it's barely the same thing.
It's Flashpoint in name.
Yeah, they basically created an alternate timeline and just called it Flashpoint because Flashpoint's a thing that exists.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it does sound cool. So basically what Flashpoint is in the world of the comics is an alternate timeline created by the Reverse Flash, or so we're led to believe. And one where basically one small change ripples out through time and creates some crazy alternate scenarios for our favorite heroes and villains.
Yeah, I think the way Reverse Flash explains it is you threw a rock at the pane of glass at his time or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so just imagine that.
So it wasn't so much as like throwing a rock in a lake. It was, like you said, against a pane of glass where it actually shattered. There's shatter across.
Or like spiders across.
Right, instead of just, little ripples, little changes, this shattered different things. And in this new timeline, we've got a war going on between Wonder Woman and Aquaman, which we'll get into, and this war kind of threatens the entire world. Cyborg is out there trying to gain as many superpowered people as he can to stop the war, and Batman and the Flash basically have to team up with Cyborg and everybody else he's got, but they've also got their own mission that they're working through. So we get all our favorite heroes in there. There's a lot going on, a lot of alternate scenarios to look at, and honestly, it's pretty cool.
It's super neat.
What was your introduction to Flashpoint, and how did you take it upon that introduction?
My introduction was I was in the comic shop, and I saw Batman #1, basically of that sub-series, with a sweet-looking Batman, and that's kind of what caught my eye was...
good-looking Batman.
In Flashpoint, Batman is Thomas Wayne, so... Bruce's father, and we'll get into that more.
Yeah, don't get into it too
in
deep.
A bit.
We'll get there when we get there.
But his suit, if you've never seen it, Google that shit right now. It is super dope.
It's a great bat suit.
And so from there it was just like, oh, who is this Batman? And then I kind of dove in deeper.
And that Batman series is called The Dark Knight of Vengeance, I believe.
That's so.
That's the 3-book series.
It's one of those where I got it in a comic box in storage somewhere. But I got the Funko Pop at home. Him and Martha Wayne. I look at it all the time.
I was looking for a Martha Wayne toy, and the only one that comes up is the Funko Pop. And I don't really do the Funko Pops that much unless there's something super exclusive that's only to them. I might have to end up getting it.
Yeah, it's a sweet Funko.
So the first time I came into contact with Flashpoint was when the animated movie came out in 2013. I think I was at Redbox or something, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. And like I read the description, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll rent this. And I watched it, and I was like, well, this is dope, and I need to figure out what else
This
is
is
going
fun.
on. So I went on the old app used to be Comixology. It's all on the DC Universe app now, but back then it was Comixology had all the DC runs of
Love that app.
comics. So I paid for the main 5 Flashpoint stories. I paid for the 3 Batman stories, and I think that was it at the time. But I just shot right through them. At this time I didn't have any background on the Flash, so some of this stuff kind of bounced off me. Like I didn't quite get as much of what Reverse Flash is. I understood most of the Batman stuff because Batman is everywhere and he's hard to miss. But like the Wonder Woman, Aquaman stuff, like I didn't have any background on these characters really, other than that I knew what their general powers were.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted more. I started reading more. And like this second time that I watched it now and read through the comics, it was kind of cool because I have more of a background on the Flash and some of these other DC characters and the DC lore as a whole. Fucking hate DC lore, but whatever. We'll get into that later.
It makes zero sense usually. Yeah, usually.
But now that I have more of a background on it, it was kind of cool to see some of the little changes that I didn't necessarily notice that first time through because I just didn't fucking care about them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it does a lot of things really well, and that's one of them. And for DC, they do not do well trying to string together stories. Like they're in essence nowhere near Marvel's caliber in that regard. Marvel has these crazy crossovers that make perfect sense, and they're grounded for the most part in a believable reality, whereas DC sometimes gets so far out
so
there,
deep into its mythos. Yeah.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
That's at least something that Flashpoint could do well, since it was this whole alternate timeline that didn't actually affect any of the real timeline. They could do whatever the hell they wanted, and the lore didn't necessarily matter because they could just say, well, the lore's different here.
Exactly, and I mean, everybody knows the name Flash, Cyborg, Batman, Superman, right, and stuff like that, so you have that familiar basis as is coming into it, and then they just rewriting the origin story. I know a lot of people aren't familiar with DC characters for the most part, other than in name.
And Batman. Everybody knows what's going on with Batman because he's had 57 movies.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So let's start moving through the characters. I wanted to start with Wonder Woman. We're going to try and talk about kind of each character. We're going to talk about what's their arc in Flashpoint, how is it different from main versions of these characters, what we like best about the Flashpoint version. It's either a simple thing or completely complex, and which one do we like better, Flashpoint or main? Everybody got it? Are we ready?
We ready.
Wonder Woman. So should we go back and forth on these? Do you want to give a synopsis and then I'll give the next synopsis, or what? How do we want to? Probably should figure this out before recording, but whatever.
We can go back and forth. Why don't you start though?
I'll go with Wonder Woman. Does that mean I get Flash? Let's see. Oh, you get Batman. Damn. All right, I'll take Flash. That's fine. All right, Wonder Woman. So with Wonder Woman, basically the Amazons have claimed the United Kingdom as New Themyscira, where Nick is currently located. They're at war they're at war with the Atlanteans, the people from Atlantis. Wonder Woman is the commander queen of the Amazons, as usual. That hasn't changed. But basically, she's also gathered a team of superpowered females that she calls the Furies, and they serve as her guard, and they fight all her battles with her. She is in the war because she killed Aquaman's wife, and Aquaman is pissed and began a war. But she actually believes that the war was caused by outside conspirators. She believes Prince Orm and her aunt, who I cannot pronounce her name and am not going to try, conspired against them to throw them into this war so they could usurp each of the leaders. And basically this war threatens to destroy the whole world. Yeah. Obviously. Why have a war if it's not going to destroy the whole world?
Exactly. I mean, come on now.
Did I miss anything on Wonder Woman? There's probably some things that I left out, but I think those will be covered with Aquaman.
The biggest
because
one
they're very intertwined.
Just the biggest difference I think in regular Wonder Woman and this Wonder Woman is she is despotic. Like she's not good. She's mean and ruthless and all
They're
kinds of shit.
The Amazons are on full-on warmongers in this. Rather than usually they're peacekeepers. They're mostly peaceful people unless they're attacked or disturbed in some way, or they're fighting out for the greater good kind of thing.
Exactly. Like they take care of people, and Wonder Woman's kind and loyal and all kinds of shit.
Right.
Whereas in this, she is just not that.
No. And to go along with that, in the movie, she just straight up hangs Steve Trevor with her lasso of truth.
Yep.
And Steve Trevor is, in regular continuity, her love. So yeah, there's big differences there. What do you like best about the Flashpoint version of this character?
Not much, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that was a hard one. This was the hardest one, I think.
Really, because the reason I did like the character in the end was because it's so polar opposite from her main continuity character. Like, I could never see her going this route no matter what, whereas the other characters we're going to focus on, they're all plausible to me. Like,
right.
their personality changes and stuff like that are all plausible scenarios.
If one little thing happens differently to each of those characters, it's very easy to see them get in that position. But with Wonder Woman, her way of life that she's living in Flashpoint is completely reactionary. She was attacked by Mira, and we'll get into that more in the Aquaman section, but she was attacked by Mira, and she reacted and saved her own life by killing Mira, and that sent Aquaman and the Atlantans after Wonder Woman and the Amazons, and so all they're in this case, they're still trying to defend themselves. She just kind of goes over the top with that.
Well, she also at the time, part of her goal is to destroy everybody who's not an Amazonian. So she's full blown Z crazy.
Yes, but she does hold on to a little bit of hope, because in the Aquaman spinoff, she's the one trying to convince Aquaman that, look, we might not be in this for the right reasons. Like, this war may have been caused by something else. We shouldn't be fighting, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I, like you, I had a hard time picking what I liked best about this, so I settled on the costume is cool.
The costume's dope.
Yeah, really good costume. She's wearing the crown of Mira as her crown, and she's got like silver gauntlets and silver, like really high silver boots that are more armored than usual.
Yeah, she's a lot more heavily armored and not scantily clad at all.
Yeah, I do like that. So, money shot here. Do you like Flashpoint or main version better?
Main version.
I'm with you. And it's for all the reasons we already said. I like a hopeful and helpful Amazon race. Here, they're way too dangerous to be warmongers like this. They're too powerful. So to see them basically be the villains of this whole thing, it's hard to watch, knowing how powerful they are and how easy it is for them to do what they need to do.
Well, and with really no check and balance system. Whereas
their check and balance right now is Aquaman, and his balance is to fucking try and kill them. So that's not balance. That's
pretty much that's what happens when a immovable force meets an unstoppable object or whatever.
I think you got those backwards.
I got it backwards. Fuck.
Let's move on to Aquaman. What do you got for Aquaman?
All right. So,
very highly intertwined with Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, well, it basically goes hand in hand. Yeah. So with Aquaman's arc, he's basically married to Mira, and
that's usual.
Meets up with Wonder Woman at a certain point, and Wonder Woman is convinced that they are destined to be together and to rule everything, basically. Aquaman in this version is extremely upset that humans, he's always talking about human beings destroying the ocean, etc., but he never does anything. Well, this time,
you guys littering in the ocean.
This time he does. He is a lot more ruthless and despotic as well, very similar to Wonder Woman. So basically he's gonna, have the two of them at his hip, and Mira ends up trying to kill Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman kills her in defense, like we talked about. So Aquaman has a vendetta against Themyscira and Wonder Woman.
Right.
So he basically goes bananas and builds up a mega military force and captures a certain mutant who can control
I
it's
don't know
like
his name, but he can control the Earth, basically the
e-
geology of the Earth.
yeah, exactly. So he's a geological mutant, and he uses him to basically detonate certain portions of the seabed to sink the continents.
Right.
So his main goal is basically to wipe out the surface world like a crazy SOP.
Yeah. And yeah, it's basically the exact opposite of what Wonder Woman is trying to do. And he discovers in this that, or I guess Wonder Woman discovers this for him, that Mira was going to kill Wonder Woman at the behest of Prince Orm. Like
Yeah.
Aquaman's brother, Prince Orm, sent Mira, kind of like got in her head and said, this could all be stopped with a small elite force with the right leader, and kind of got in her head to go out there. So she goes out there to try and kill her. Obviously, doesn't get the job done. And then when Wonder Woman comes to discuss everything with Aquaman, they get into a final duel, and she tells them about Orm and her aunt, and they get into this duel to basically over the life of Mira. But they say they're gonna try and call a truce, but the life of Mira still needs to be settled. They get into this duel, and before the duel can play itself out, Orm detonates parts of the Atlantean navy,
Mm-hmm.
and now the Atlantans think that this was an attack by the Amazons, which it wasn't, and that forces him to set off the Geopulse once again against New Themyscira, because they thought Orm attacked his own people, trying to trick them basically into attacking the Amazons further, and it worked, and they did. So then the war continued. The war was almost settled. Like, they were just fighting one last duel, and then everything was going to be settled. They were going to go in prison or kill Orm and Wonder Woman's aunt, and it didn't happen.
Tales all
Fucking
this
Prince Orm.
time. Yeah. He's always a prick, man.
Yeah, that does not change with Flashpoint.
No. He's the same. He's a dick.
So how is this different? I'm not huge into the Aquaman mythos.
Well, see, here's what's tough is around the same time they kind of rebooted Aquaman, and
Mm-hmm.
he was more of a gritty, gruff Aquaman, very similar to this one, but this Aquaman is a lot more militant. The biggest difference is he's very much so willing to act on those feelings of aggression when it comes to the
Right.
surface dwellers, and he's got the firepower and all this to do it, and he does it with vigor, and that's the biggest difference.
Is yeah, that there's no external thought. It's let's do what's best for the Atlantean. And I really don't think that this is that far off from his personality. Like, I've always kind of felt that Aquaman is, to use the term from the new Joker movie, just one bad day away from letting the Atlanteans fall, to their base desires and just go full on the humans. And this version just gives us that. Like, he had that bad day. His wife is killed under a peace treaty, and now he's on a warpath to basically sink the world.
Yeah, he says, "Fuck this, game on," and I think you're 100% right in regards to the one bad day thing, and I think if he doesn't have those checks and balances like Superman and Wonder Woman and
Hmm.
Batman and Green
I think
Lantern
he's
and
he's always flirting with that, even in the regular world. And this, he didn't. Batman's not there to help him. Green Lantern isn't there to help him. Wonder Woman obviously not there to help him. Superman locked in a dungeon. So yeah, there's nothing to save him from these base desires.
and he gives in.
Yep.
What do you like best about this new Flashpoint version of Aquaman?
So my answer is basically the opposite of what we said for Wonder Woman. I actually like the idea of Atlantis flexing their true power here. Um, it's kind of
Really?
cool. Yeah,
Oh,
they're
I mean, it's
extremely
super dope.
useless, or not useless. They're extremely ruthless in using this other metahuman as a weapon. And in both versions of the comics and in the movie that they made, they use different metahumans as weapons, and that's something that we don't get in the comic. And Aquaman is often referred to as like the lowest totem on the Justice League pillar. And like, so I think it's kind of cool that they're just they're out there flexing. They're like, no, we're actually powerful. You guys make fun of us all the time, but we're the real deal.
Yeah, we'll whoop your ass.
Yeah.
But, and I agree. I think that is really, really dope. Besides the 30 million deaths or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
besides that, but
forget about those.
Yeah, you know,
they weren't real deaths. We got restored. It's fine.
Yeah, you know, just think about the snap. It's all good. Something like that, except for tidal waves and drowning.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
But yeah, this Aquaman is seeing that power is super cool, and it leads down the rabbit hole of like the what if rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
What if Aquaman released Atlantis against Darkseid or something, or Doomsday or something like that? Like, where the fuck was he? That'd be. It kind of makes another utility for Aquaman, which I think is very needed in the DC landscape.
Yeah, you can see if he were to release his full power, what it could actually amount to. And he just never does. I mean, I don't read that. He might. I never read an Aquaman comic other than these. Like, he might do that in some instances, but you don't ever hear about it. Like, Aquaman is still the butt of the joke in most cases.
He's usually a bitch in his comics, and they try to build it up to where he's more badass, but it just gets canceled before they get there because it's so stupid.
Another solid Aquaman portrayal is the Injustice video games. And I don't even know, I'm not even talking about the story. Like, Aquaman he's a really powerful hero fighting with in the Injustice video games.
Well, I mean, he's got super strength, speed, dexterity, and all that stuff.
He's got that cool trident. Like, he was in the first Injustice game, he was one of my favorites to fight with.
I mean, that trident is just a different kind of weapon.
Absolutely. So which one do we like better?
I like Flashpoint Batman better. Or Flashpoint.
We're talking Aquaman.
Yeah. Flashpoint Aquaman.
I agree.
Woman.
I agree. It's the Flashpoint. Like, it's cool sometimes to see what happens to these altruistic heroes when they snap and to see what causes those snaps. I just talked about Injustice. The same thing happens with Superman in Injustice. Is something really shitty happens and he snaps and he's just like, fuck it, I'm going to take over the world. Aquaman does the same thing here, and it's cool to see. It's not cool, obviously, what they did, but it's cool to see them just be like, nah, fuck it. I'm going to release all my power.
Game on, motherfucker. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Are we ready for Superman?
Superman, let's do it. One of the most interesting character changes, I thought.
So this one, we don't get a lot of arc in the main 5 books of Flashpoint. There's not much there. But if you read his separate spin-off, there's a lot more depth to it, which was kind of cool, because I don't read a lot of Superman either, and it was cool to look at it this way. So basically in this one, Superman crashed into Metropolis rather than Smallville. The crash of his spaceship killed 35,000 people, 30 years prior to the events of Flashpoint. So he and his ship have been kept in this underground facility since the crash, and he has been tested on trying to figure out his powers, what works, what doesn't, that kind of thing. And basically he was conditioned by a fellow lab rat to not create attachments to other people. Don't have friends. They're all just lying to get something out of you, kind of thing. Did you read the Superman spinoffs?
I did.
Do you know who that other character is supposed to be?
I have no fucking clue.
Okay. At Suck My Fanfic, you guys are big DC guys. Let us know who that is supposed to be, because I don't know. They mentioned something about Booster Gold, so maybe that's what it's supposed to be, but I don't know enough about him to know. Anyway, so there's this other guy that they've been experimenting on since World War II that they give all these fucking powers to. And he grows way too powerful, and it's Lois Lane's dad who's doing all these experiments and basically hangs him out to dry when it comes time to prove that they need him. And when they put him out on a battlefield, this other guy, he just kills a bunch of people.
Yeah,
enemies, friends, he just kills
friendly fire. Doesn't matter.
So they basically lock him away. But he figures out, once Superman's in there, he figures out how to communicate with Superman, and kind of, I don't want to say he has this bond with him, but in his mind, he's telling Superman what the real deal is with these people. and that they'll never actually love him. They just need you, and that's it.
Well, he's the only other face that Superman sees that's not poking him and prodding him and hurting him and scaring him and yada yada.
And eventually, Lois Lane's father and this other guy get locked away in the Phantom Zone. Great, go to the Phantom Zone. He was kind of annoying me, anyways. I didn't like him very much.
Yeah, he's a dick.
In this world, Superman has barely any powers because he hasn't been exposed to the sun at all.
Never seen the sun.
He's later released from this prison by the Flash and Batman and Cyborg. Flash thinks that he's going to help them fight because he knows deep down who Superman is, but Superman kills a bunch of people and then just basically runs away. He does save Cyborg and Flash and Batman in this one scenario, but then he's just like, fuck it, I'm out of here.
Yeah, he pieces out. And I mean, the way we'll go back to the plausibility of it. If you know Superman at all, his cells basically work like mini nuclear reactors. The radiation of the sun powers his cells, which give him his power. Right. So, I mean, there's been points in the comics where he's literally been burnt down to skeleton or something like that, or just crazy, crazy, crazy injury, and then he'll fly into the sun or, hit the sun's rays will touch him and he'll start to heal. It's kind of like
Attorney General's note: do not fly into the sun anyway.
Don't fly and don't look at the sun. Don't go out there without the sunscreen. But I mean, if you've seen Man of Steel, where he kind of flies above the clouds and closes his eyes and just kind of flexes, and then flies off real fast. That's Superman. So Superman, without ever seeing the sun, is basically lightning in a bottle. Mm-hmm. It's just he's
completely untapped potential. So when he does get out and the sun starts powering him, he just kind of lets loose because he doesn't know how to control his powers or what to do or anything. So he knows that Cyborg and Flash and Batman saved him. So in that moment, he wants to help them. But other than that, we don't know kind of what he's thinking or what's going on. So he kind of lets loose on the people attacking those three, but then he's gone.
Yeah, he bounces quick.
He later is fighting the other dude, gets released from the Phantom Zone when Flash and Batman release him. He fights him for a while to try and save Lois Lane, beats him somehow, and then he comes in at the 11th hour to stop the fighting between Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
No more.
And he really only did that because Lois Lane told him to. Lois Lane's dying in his arms, and she tells him, you have to do something about this. You have the power. I didn't really like this ending to the war of just Superman coming in and basically fucking up Wonder Woman and Aquaman. It was just this kind of Deus Ex Machina thing that he comes in, and it kind of cheapens Barry's story a little bit. Everything that Barry and Thomas Wayne had been working to, Superman just comes in and is like, fuck it, I'll kill him.
I mean, I disagree to a certain extent, because this is right after Wonder Woman cuts off Billy Batson's head. Poor Billy.
That's true. And, I don't think he saw that though, did he?
No, you don't. I don't think so. But if you're a reader,
did Superman see that?
No, that's what I'm saying. If you're a reader, Billy's just been killed. Fucking hate Wonder Woman because Billy Batson's dope. Shazam's dope.
I'm not saying they didn't need to be stopped.
Well, I think it refocuses the story back on the Flash, and that's kind of why I disagree for a bit. Because instead of it being, it's Flashpoint. It's about the Flash fixing this continuity, not
the Flash
stopping
ends
the war.
Up, yeah, the Flash does end up solving the bigger issue at hand. But the war, after everything that Cyborg had been working for with his team, after everything that Batman had been working toward with the Flash to get there and help with the war, it's just Superman's here. Nobody's got to worry about anything, which has always been kind of the Superman problem. Superman is so powerful that nothing else matters.
Well, exactly, and honestly, I'm cool with it here, just because I don't think the Flash.
Because the war. I get it. The war doesn't matter anymore. The war's not important anymore, but this world is still a pile of shit and needs to be saved and stopped.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both Aquaman and they need that check, and he's their balance, and that's kind of what I think they were saying with that. And that's what I liked about it.
You talked me into it. All right, I'm on your team. Sweet. So this is different from the main continuity. Obviously, Superman crashes in Smallville and is raised by the Kents. This never happens in Flashpoint. And through this childhood with the Kents, he kind of learns various reasons why humanity is worth saving, where in this case he doesn't get any of that knowledge. The only thing he gets is Lois tried to save him one time, so he wants to save her. That's all he cares about, which is enough in this one scenario, but it's not the full Superman that is full of hope and right in the American way, or whatever.
Exactly, the symbol of hope and peace and justice and stuff like that. He's not that.
Yeah.
He's just a meek man.
So what do you think is the best part of the Flashpoint version of this? Of Superman?
I love the physical, like his physical stature. I think
Skinny
it's
Superman.
great.
Yep.
I love it.
Like
I think it's fucking awesome.
He still has his power, like his latent power, but like just the look of this super skinny Superman, but he still can lash out with his full power once he hits the sun, obviously.
Well, when he like lands to take on Batman when he lands to take on Aquaman and Wonder Woman, it's just you see a lot of that power come through with the him hitting the ground so hard, etc. But it's still this 90-pound dude. I thought that was great.
Yeah. So, big question: do you like Flashpoint or main version better?
Main version.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because it's not even close. Like 1.5 million reasons.
Yeah.
It's Superman.
I just keep coming back to this. We don't actually know what he's going to do to stop this war. We don't know what moment he's going to stop at. He could just flat out kill everybody. He could just take them all out. We don't know because Flash takes off and we don't actually see the result of what Superman's ready to and willing to do. He needs the hope and the humanity that's provided by the Kents, and by being fully in love with Lois Lane and knowing that humans can be good. A lab rat does not make a good hero. That's what we saw with the other dude that was there.
No, they make great villains, though.
Yes. Yeah, the other lab rat dude, we saw what happened. He got all the same powers, but none of the stable upbringing, and we saw what he turned into, which was douche.
Yeah, a giant wanker.
All right, tell us about Batman.
He's the dopest Batman that's ever been written. The end.
Just, be prepared for the next hour to be Batman.
Okay, we'll try to keep it to like 10 minutes. So Batman in this arc is Thomas Wayne. We said that earlier. It's an older version of Thomas Wayne. Basically, instead of Thomas and Martha being killed in the alley, Bruce was killed.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So Bruce is dead.
That's Bruce Wayne.
Martha's having a really hard time, and Thomas wants to basically help. So, and fill that hole in his own heart. So he kills, I think he beats him to death. The man that killed Bruce.
Joe Chill.
And, yep. Basically kills Joe Chill. Martha still has a psychotic break. Thomas comes back to their house and tells her that he killed him, and she turns with cuts in her cheeks like Heath Ledger's Joker.
Where that comes interesting is killing Joe Chill is something that Batman could never actually bring himself to do, or Bruce could never bring himself to do.
He thought about it a lot, to,
but he always stopped short.
Never did it.
Because he knew it wouldn't bring him the satisfaction that he was after. So that's the start of the difference between Thomas and Bruce as Batman.
Oh, there's a ton of them. So Martha deteriorates and becomes this world's version of the Joker. And she is fucking brutal. Yeah. Very, very, very brutal. Which helps to, birth this extremely brutal countermeasure, which is the Thomas Wayne Flashpoint Batman.
So tell us what happens with the Harvey Dent twins. I think that's important context.
Okay, so the Harvey Dent twins are stolen by Martha Wayne. Kidnapped. We're getting technical here, buddy.
You don't steal people, you kidnap them.
It's the same thing.
We're not gonna be invited back for more crime episodes if we can't get the terminology right.
Well, here's the big difference. Kidnapping is the intention of ransom, whereas stealing is the intention to never give back. I think
you're just making that up, but I don't know.
Well, dude, you tell me, audience. Get at me at APA something and alone_podcast on Twitter.
Let us know. Anyway,
is Nick right?
What happens after he steals / kidnaps the children? who
you're
are
gonna have to.
about 8 to 10 years old, I would say.
They're young.
Yeah.
But doesn't one of them end up dying? Doesn't she kill one of them?
She doesn't kill. So she dresses up the girl with a Joker like wig and like a duct tape Joker smile and stands her on a chair holding a gun. Jim Gordon arrives at Wayne Manor through an investigation into a dead body. So he shows up there and Gordon shoots one of them. Shoots the girl as she's
Oh
standing on the chair,
yeah,
but
shoots her by
she
accident.
doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't actually die, which is important. And then the Joker kills Jim Gordon.
Poor Jim.
Yeah, so it's a tough look for Jim Gordon here.
Yeah, it does not look good. But this version of the Joker is one of my favorite versions,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd absolutely love to see it adapted to the big screen.
It'd be a tough sell, but yeah, it'd be.
I have the perfect person that I think would be amazing as this Joker. God, I can't think of her name, but she played Kitty in that '70s show.
Oh,
I think
Jesus.
she would.
Deborah Jo Rupp.
Deborah Jo Rupp, that's right.
I think she might be a little too old now, but if you'd have got her in like prime Kitty Foreman years, 15 years ago, I think
she would have been amazing. She would have been fucking amazing. She would have been Mark Hamill good.
She would be good, and shit, what's her name? Aunt Jackie from Roseanne. She played Sheldon Cooper's mother in Big Bang Theory. Laurie Metcalf. I think she would be good.
She would be pretty solid.
Yeah.
I
think you got it right with Deborah Jo Rupp in like prime that 70 show years. She would have been great.
She would have been fucking amazing. Just imagine her bashing somebody with a hammer.
Well, yeah, which is what happens to Batman. He shows up to try and stop the Joker, and she just beats the shit out of him with a hammer. And he kind of starts having flashbacks to what happened to Bruce and where their life went to lead them here. But he does break through to her at one point and asks her, if he could fix this, should he? If he can, because this is all happening after Barry has come back to this time. So he's asking, I can fix this. I can make it so we died instead of Bruce. Should I do that? Should it work? And, she's with him. She's like, yeah, do it. And then she asks if he does it, what would happen to Bruce? And she's not happy with that answer.
That he becomes the Batman?
Yeah. So Thomas has to explain, and she runs away from him and basically falls to her death, I believe.
Yeah, she falls out
what's
a
implied.
Window. But the biggest difference in this Batman is he kills, obviously. Yeah, very big difference. He's super duper brutal, and he's even more antisocial with everybody else than normal Batman. Like, he's not
also
a part
runs
of
a
any
casino
league.
with the Penguin.
Yeah, like he kind of has immersed himself in a bit of the underbelly of Gotham, but then he's just a dirty Batman.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing in this, Selina Kyle is the Oracle instead of Barbara Gordon because Barbara Gordon doesn't exist. Jim Gordon never had kids. So Selina Kyle somehow got paralyzed and serves as Oracle. And then, like you said, Bruce is just as terribly adjusted as Bruce is. He's much more well adjusted than Thomas is at this point.
Yeah, Thomas is fucking nuts.
And Thomas, after all of this happens with the Joker, he does decide to help Barry. He helps him release Superman. He joins up with Cyborg and his band. Basically goes on a suicide mission with Cyborg and the Flash and all these other heroes that Cyborg's rounded up. Helps Barry turn back into the Flash, which is important. And he's doing it all because he wants to restore Barry's timeline where Bruce lives instead of him. And he ends up killing the Reverse Flash as he taunts Barry over what's occurred. And he dies in his final moment telling Barry that it's time for him to run. Sends a note back with Bruce, or with Barry for Bruce, which is pretty cool. I don't know how it exists, but...
Do they show that in this Flashpoint universe? Because I don't remember if I finished that very last few pages, because I was on, while I was reading through it one last time, I was on the train.
They do. They show it. They show the note in both the comics and in the. It's in the fifth comic book, and then it's in like the last too. Page. But it doesn't show what it says. It just like you can just see scribbles and that it's signed Thomas Wayne, and Bruce gets like a little tear.
Yeah, which is broke my fucking heart, man. So
yeah, that's rough. Yeah,
so good.
I think we covered his arc. Maybe not.
I'm sure there'll be plenty more to talk about.
Yeah, because he's, as much as Aquaman and Wonder Woman are intertwined, Flash and Batman are very intertwined.
Absolutely.
And there will be more in our kind of post discussion of I'm sure a lot of the Batman things will come back up.
Yeah, so this Batman is just completely, whereas most of these other heroes are the same people, different cat entirely, which I think just lends, to the fun of the situation.
Right. Yeah. He really sells that this is actually an alternate time, and that's cool. And my favorite part is just the relationship between Thomas and Martha and how they become Batman and Joker, and how even though they're diametrically opposed, they can still get through to each other and still try and help each other a little bit.
Well, and they share that heartbreak.
And then, of course, you have the Batsuit, which is easily top 3 Batsuits of all time.
Hit me with your top 3.
I don't have them.
Oh.
I know it. I know it's in there though.
Yeah, I'd say that's my third favorite Batman suit. Batman Noel is probably my second.
I'd have to fire up one of the Arkham games and just look through all the unlockable ones.
I really like Batman's suit when it was rebooted in the New 52 as well.
That one's okay. It's really armor heavy. I don't like the armor heavy ones as much. Like, I like the 1989 movie version one. That one's pretty good.
We might be talking about different suits. This one's kind of like the old Dark Knight Returns suit. Mm-hmm. That matte gray with the yellow Batman's, outline.
Okay, yeah.
It's pretty form fitting. It's not like real heavy armor, I guess, is a good way to. That's kind of why I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the armored. Well, like playing in the Arkham games where everything's super armored because that's what makes sense. Those don't look as cool.
No, I agree. It's too much. It's too much.
Yep.
So yeah, which one do you like better?
This is hard. Batman is so iconic, and Bruce is part of what makes it iconic. But this story is self-contained with Thomas and Martha. It's so intriguing, and like I always find myself wanting to know more about what was going on between when Bruce died in Crime Alley and when we actually get them in Flashpoint. Like, I want to know what else is going on in Gotham. Gotham is by far the most interesting part of the Flashpoint world. Mm-hmm. And I would like to know everything. Like, I want to know more about how Martha slipped so deep that she became the Joker. Besides, like, we see him killing Joe Chill, but that's not all of it, obviously. Like, I want to see more of her mental deterioration. I want to see what other
villains. Like, I want to see more of what.
Right, him too.
How the fuck did he go down the road to become Batman? That makes zero sense to me initially.
What are other villains like in this world? We see where the Penguin is, but where's the Riddler? Where's Calendar Man? Where's
Scarecrow?
Condiment King? All these guys.
Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. What happened to all those people? What was the deterioration of the Wayne property? Like, Wayne Enterprises still exists, but it's in complete disrepair. Same with Wayne Manor. How did that happen? It feels like there's so much to dive into just within Gotham City. And like, I wish that a full series other than these 3 books existed. That was just like, let's live in this world of Gotham City. We don't need the rest of it. Let's just live in Gotham City with these people.
That'd be a great, 15 to 20 issue run. I think that'd be perfect.
Anyway, I can't decide which one's better, and you're not going to make me. So you tell me which one you like better.
I can't put my finger on either or, because there's characteristics I really do love about the Flashpoint Batman. If I had to choose, I'd say main continuity Batman. Batman's fucking Batman, the world's greatest detective. That's something that I don't think Thomas Wayne really is in Flashpoint. He's more of a businessman, a mogul. He's still a really, really smart dude, but he's not fucking Batman. Like, he's not that.
Batman's his side job.
Exactly.
Whereas Bruce, Batman is the real person, and Bruce is the side job kind of thing.
Well,
it's the opposite there.
Exactly. Thomas is Thomas, and his alter ego is Batman, whereas Batman is Batman. Yeah. And in his spare time he plays Bruce Wayne.
Right. Just that to keep up appearances, basically.
keep the money flowing in.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Flash, the most important character here, probably. Not the best, but the most important by far, because it wouldn't exist without him. So the Flash wakes up one day and things seem off. He's lost his powers, but he retains his memories from his normal life, and he kind of has to come to grips with all the changes around because he's the only one that knows anything's changed. Everything else is just normal to everyone else he meets. Um, his mother's back, which is the most important thing. But the Flash doesn't exist. So which is more important? Is it more important that he has his mother, or that the Flash exists and the Flash can help restore the world? So he sets out on a journey to regain his powers. He goes to see Batman, explains the whole situation to him, and they recreate the lab accident that first he acquired his powers from. So he's sitting in this big chair. They got all these chemicals flowing in, and they build some lightning rods and get him struck by lightning. Not once, but twice.
First time, though, he nearly dies from, like, third-degree burns on 80% of his body.
Luckily,
like,
Thomas Wayne is a doctor.
Exactly. Dr. Thomas Wayne is a doctor and saved him somehow. Ow. That's all I can say is
without his super healing abilities. So he thinks the Reverse Flash is behind this, obviously. He goes to get a suit out of his ring at one point, and the Reverse Flash's suit comes out instead. So he thinks, obviously, this is what's going on. He learns later from the Reverse Flash that that Barry created this alternate reality by going back in time and stopping the Reverse Flash from killing his mother.
After the Reverse Flash is basically beating him to death.
Yeah.
During the middle of this war.
Before Batman shoots him, though.
Yeah.
And so, as we said at the top, saving his mother didn't create a ripple so much as it shattered everyone in his general vicinity, the reality of everyone in his general vicinity. So just instead of little ripples, everybody's completely different, as we've seen as we've gone through this. So simply put, he traded his mother's life for the fate of the world. The Flash decides that the only way to fix this, obviously, is to go back in time, but he can't go back in time with the Reverse Flash also existing here, because he doesn't have enough Speed Force, and this is getting too deep into Flash lore probably, but the Speed Force, if there's more than one Speedster, they each contain part of the Speed Force. He can't use enough of it to actually travel through time.
He's not as powerful as he normally is.
There we go. So they have to get rid of the Reverse Flash somehow, and Batman helps him with that by shooting him in the head. Shout out Batman.
Doesn't he stab him through the chest?
I thought he shot him. He might have stabbed.
No, he stabs him through the chest with Wonder Woman's sword.
Okay. Maybe that happens in the comics and he shoots him in the movie. I don't remember, because I did both, so it could be different. But whatever. He kills him. Let's say that. Can we agree that Batman kills Reverse Flash?
Yes.
Done.
Eobard. What kind of name is Eobard?
I don't know. It's a fucking dumb name. I agree.
Well, that's what Batman asked the Flash.
I know. I don't remember what the Flash's quippy answer was, though, so I just had to make up my own. But on his way back into the past, he visits his mom one last time on his way out, and she kind of gives him the strength to do what needs to be done. And actually, when he changes everything, he gets to retain his memories of the time he spent with her in the Flashpoint universe. So he remembers every birthday, every dinner, everything that he had with his mom in that life. He retains those memories, that's kind of cool.
I liked it. I thought that was really sweet.
So this is different from the main continuity. Obviously, Barry's mom is killed by the Reverse Flash when he was a kid. He gained his Speed Force powers through a lab accident, which doesn't happen until he forces the hand. He's not married to Iris. He has no powers. One of his greatest foes, Captain Cold, is turned into Citizen Cold, and he's a hero. Like, there's a lot of little things going on in his life that are completely different because he never became the Flash.
It's weird. It's very weird.
Yeah. All these little weird, like, make you a little uncomfortable things. What do you think the best thing about Flashpoint version is?
The smarts. Usually they focus so much on his quirkiness, like his quips and his goofy, like kind of Deadpoolish. But Barry Allen is stupid smart. You know, that nice oxymoron.
I'd say he's closer to Spider-Man than Deadpool.
Yeah,
right?
that's
because he's super smart, but still
that's very accurate. That's very accurate. So yeah, that's one thing I really liked about this Flashpoint is you see it's him that basically figures out all these fucked up portions of the timeline with help from other people instead of them walking him through this shit.
He's always kind of on in these other team ups, except Crisis on Infinite Earth, where he's still on the sidelines. He's usually on the sidelines, and this brings him to the forefront. And that was kind of my thing too, is his willingness to go through hell, be struck by lightning twice to regain his powers because he knows he's the only one that can fix it, and that, no matter what is going on, he knows it's his responsibility to first, go and fight Wonder Woman, Aquaman. When he doesn't think he can even go back in time to save the world, he still wants to go and fight. Like, he really takes on the responsibility of this world and to try and save it.
He wants to save people.
Right. And like you said, we don't get that out of the Flash a lot. Usually it's Batman and Superman that are up front, and the Flash is just kind of in the background making quips and doing the things he can do, but not, like, you don't get to see it in him that he is the true leader.
Yeah, it's just run fast. And that's usually how it always goes.
Throw lightning at a guy.
There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
So which version do you like better, Flashpoint or main version?
Flashpoint.
Nice. I think that's what I picked too. I said I like that he causes it, and because of him, Flashpoint exists. Oh, yeah, so I disagreed. So this is what I wrote. I like that he caused it, and because of him, this whole world exists, but I like the main version better. This is not a great thing to say, but great tragedies make great superheroes, and this exercise in Flashpoint kind of proves that out. So if Nora Allen doesn't die, Flash doesn't need to exist, and Barry has no reason to pursue justice. So there's not actually a different version of the Flash in this. He's still the same person, and he, like we said, he has to just go do everything again. But I think he needs his mother's death in order to exist. And because his mother didn't die, he doesn't actually exist in Flashpoint.
Well, yeah, and I think it's very similar to Spider-Man's arc. Without the death of Uncle Ben.
And it's a lot of heroes without Bruce's parents' deaths.
Yeah.
Without Superman losing his entire planet. It can be said about numerous heroes.
Probably like 65% of them.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess, I would say. But it can also be said about a lot of villains, and it's how you react to those tragedies that make you a hero or a villain. And so I like to see the heroes reacting in the way that makes them heroes to whatever their tragic backstory is.
Well put, sir.
Thank you. I just thought of that. I didn't even take that as a note.
That was great.
All right, so let's talk about some other small character changes. Did you have any you want to talk about? Because I've got 6, 7.
I had a few little ones. Like,
okay.
I thought Grifter was very odd.
So I don't know who Grifter is outside of Flashpoint.
He's part of the Youngbloods, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. I kept thinking that whole time I was reading that Superman spinoff, I thought that other dude was going to turn into Grifter until he started like getting really huge and jacked. Then I realized weird. It was a different person. But I thought he was going to be Grifter, and that's where Grifter came from, but that's not. Yeah, but Grifter was a cool character in Flashpoint. I got to agree there.
That was really weird. The kids that, Billy Batson has to combine with, like, his siblings to become Shazam.
I like the Shazam with the 6 kids, the 6 foster kids that become Shazam, and each one kind of contains one of those powers
of Shazam. They have a tiger. That was neat.
Oh, and he's called Captain Thunder in this.
Yeah. Or they call themselves Captain Thunder, but everyone else calls him Captain Marvel. Dumb
name. Not a fan of Captain Thunder.
I thought that was very, very odd. I'm gonna go back to Superman.
And they had part of
the look on his face.
Wait, I wasn't done with Shazam.
Is my most specific thing I could say.
I wasn't done with Shazam.
Fine.
Shazam in his arc had a previous encounter with Wonder Woman where Wonder Woman basically almost killed him. And then, so he really wants to settle the score with Wonder Woman and goes into battle thinking that. And then she makes him say Shazam. They split up into the 6 kids, and she just cuts his fucking head off. Billy Batson's head.
Well, like Enchantress splits him or something. Like she's working as a undercover
she like mind
agent.
melds him to make him say it. Like she can't split him, but she
does
magics him into making him say Shazam.
And then
one of the Amazons just fucking murders the shit out of Billy Batson. So,
And
all
all
right,
they
go on
say
with your
later is, "Oh yeah, and Billy Batson died." It's just like, oh man, you could get more of a eulogy than that.
He's a 12-year-old. Come on.
And he died.
All right, what were you gonna say about Superman?
But yeah, I mean, the look. There's one specific panel where they break into the vicinity where Superman is, and they're trying to save him, and Superman like looks at them with this look of utter fear and terror, and just he looks like a cornered animal, and you've never seen that look on Superman. I thought that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Like, just seeing Superman literally frightened is an interesting thing to do. And going along with Superman, Lois Lane has kind of a cool arc too. She's leading the resistance from within Europe against Wonder Woman and Aquaman both. She's trying to help Cyborg gain people with powers. She's also there as a journalist trying to write about what's going on so people will believe them and actually try and help. She has no powers and she's just a journalist, but she's out there willing to lay her life on the line for a good cause, and she ends up dying off screen in the main 5 books. We see it in Superman's spinoff, but I don't know. I thought that was kind of cheap for someone who, like, they kept kind of mentioning her but never really showing her as part of the Resistance. And then I didn't even know she was dead until I went over and read the Superman spinoff.
Yeah, exactly. Like they don't explicitly say it in the main 5.
She has her own spinoff too, which I didn't read, but I'm sure it's very interesting. And I'll probably end up reading that eventually.
Yeah, they have a lot of spinoffs, a lot more than what we covered. And I think, honestly, one of the last things I kind of wanted them to explore a little more was Batman. Just to be perfectly blunt, I really wanted to see Batman explored a little bit more, and finally Cyborg. Like, how the fuck did Cyborg become? He's basically the U.S. government's like main operative. He's like bigger. Like Batman mentions something too, or Flash says like you're a lot bigger in this timeline. Like, I kind of wish they would have explained that a little better.
Yeah. And not only that, he's got like a direct line to the president where anything's wrong, the president fucking calls him. And he's building up this army of heroes and villains with abilities to basically be neutral in the middle of Wonder Woman and Aquaman and just stop the war, to fight both sides and just stop it. Plus, you got to give a shout out to Michael B. Jordan as the voice of Cyborg in the movie. Shout out Michael B. Jordan.
I feel like I've watched the movie, but it's been a long time. Like,
it's pretty good. I've got an issue with it, which we'll get to. Just some other quick ones that I wanted to mention. Mentioned a little bit in the Flash part. Captain/Citizen Cold. He's one of Flash's greatest nemesis, but now he is a good guy, and that's kind of the first change that we see. He wakes up. Barry wakes up in this new timeline, and he hears about Citizen Cold trying to stop somebody. Captain Boomerang, maybe, I don't know. But he's out there like fighting for the side of good, and it kind of just sets you up as a reader for the wild ride that we're going to go through. And Captain Cold is a pretty cool character, pun 100% intended. And one of Flash's better villains. I'm always a fan of Ice Power, so it's kind of cool to see him on the side of good. Green Arrow. Now, see, I was very confused in this because I thought Green Arrow was a huge part of this, but he's not at all. I was confusing him with the Green Arrow in The Dark Knight Returns, where he's got one arm and he's kind of old and grizzled. This, he runs Green Arrow Industries. He specializes in weapons manufacturing and uses different supervillain tech to power his weapons, which is kind of a cool thing. And then he supplies these weapons to the Resistance to try and stop the war at one point. And Hal Jordan, who is not a Green Lantern, uses one of those weapons, or attempts to use one of those weapons to, in the movie, he's trying to attack the Atlanteans, and in the comics, he's trying to attack the Amazons, and basically just get stopped cold in both of them.
Yeah, he gets fucking owned.
Yeah.
They shit on him.
So Green Lantern, as we said, Hal Jordan does not have his lantern. Abensor actually didn't die, so he has his ring and exists in this world. I didn't read that spinoff at all, so I don't really know what's going on with him. He doesn't make very much of an appearance. But it's interesting to note that Abensur still is in possession of the Lantern Ring.
Yeah, I mean, I think you see him on TV for like a split
Yeah.
second. Or a panel in the comics.
And then my last one, I just want to give a little more shouts to Reverse Flash, because in this world he basically becomes inevitable. He was in the time stream when Barry shattered it, so he now can't exist without
Exists
Barry.
outside of
Because in
time.
the past he never could kill Barry, because if he kills Barry, Barry doesn't become the Flash. Right, Barry doesn't become the Flash, and if Barry doesn't become the Flash, he can't later become the Reverse Flash, because no one ever knows how to access the Speed Force. But because he was stuck in the time stream when Barry made the changes, he now exists outside of time. He can be anywhere and everywhere he wants to be. Um, and so it's kind of cool that he's in a brief moment just unleashed on Barry, and he's like ready to do what he's always wanted to do. And then Batman kills him.
Oh, he fucking works him. Oh my god, he works the shit out of him so bad.
So my next question was going to be
Batman. He fucking whoops Batman too.
Yeah, he whoops a lot of people. My next question was going to be, do you like the comics or the DC animated movie better? Obviously, you don't remember the animated movie better or that well.
Yeah, I know I've watched it. Like, with each second, it's like, okay, a little more is coming into focus.
Yeah. So I'll explain what I like about it, because I like the movie a little bit better just because of the way the story is told. It focuses a little closer on just Barry and what he's going through. You get to see into the world a little bit better. You see Bruce's death. You see Martha turn a little bit. You don't get into the full spin-off thing, obviously. You see the cause of the war, which they kind of completely fuck up. And the comics, if you're just reading the main 5, you don't get into some of that stuff. So they do a good job of keeping it contained, but also giving you a little flashes of the greater world. We get quick glimpses of what's going on with like Citizen Cold and Lois Lane, and you get a little bit more into that stuff without getting too bogged, without having to read a whole 3-issue series on what actually is going on. And so that's kind of cool. It's cool that it just cares about Flash's role and tells kind of this succinct story of what is Flash trying to stop.
Well, in only a fashion that the Flash, can stop.
Right. And at the same time, you can't beat the depth that you get in the spin-off stories. There's no way, especially the Batman one, but also like the Wonder Woman and Aquaman one give great context to everything. And that's kind of something that DC does good with these events, is even if the main set of books doesn't work, the spin-offs are always way more interesting than the main story.
Well, they're always more focused, whereas like
Right.
Marvel, the way Marvel will do it is they'll launch, like, for example, they have Absolute Carnage going on right now, but they have like 6 different spin-offs through 6 different titles, whereas DC makes it fucking easy. It's Flashpoint 5 issues, and then you can get 3 of each of these characters. And that's about it. And they'll give you a better timeline of like how to follow it.
Right, and we talked about this when I read the Dark Knight's Metal event. We talked about it with Suck My Fanfic on Twitter pretty deeply, that DC has this lore problem. Even after they introduce the new 52, they get so bogged down in all this deep DC stuff that they think you have to know to enjoy the story. And like
Exactly.
Metal, it was all this shit
luckily
about
they didn't
Hawkman and the Nth Metal and all that bullshit. And they don't do that in Flashpoint because it's its own separate thing. The lore doesn't matter in Flashpoint. But like with Metal, it was just like, okay, let's waste 5 pages talking about where Hawkman's been his whole life, and Hawkman is barely even in the book, And the spin-offs though in these things, they're singularly character focused, so you don't have to care about what's going on in the lore. Like you don't have to know 5 pages worth of Hawkman things to appreciate what happened to the Flash in Dark Knight Metal,
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they give you just enough to follow along, while you can explore new aspects of the characters at the same time, which is just good storytelling, in my opinion.
They provide context to what happened in the main 5 without actually and tell you what happened with that single character within this world, but they don't actually ever address. They don't ever address the main 5 books in these spinoffs.
No,
They're just like, this is what Batman's been doing for the past 3 weeks. They don't talk about what happened in the main 5 books because it's not important to what Batman's going through with the Joker.
No.
And Flashpoint does a really good job of that. The Dark Knight Metals does a pretty good job of that with the spinoffs. Their main line is much more scattered and a lot worse, but Flashpoint does really good. They don't go into the lore too much. But they do try and spread the page time to other characters rather than just focusing on Barry and what he's going through. They keep flashing. Here's Aquaman and Wonder Woman. Here's what they're doing. Here's the Grifter and the Resistance. Here's Cyborg for a couple pages. Like, it's not focused enough on Barry sometimes, I felt like, in the Flashpoint books.
That's true.
But it's also 5 books, and you have to fill 5 books somehow, so I get that. But that's why I like the movie a little bit better, because it can take the time to just focus on Barry, and you get like the memory flashes of what actually happened to cause it to be like this.
Yeah.
We are not going to talk about the Arrowverse version of Flashpoint because it was stupid.
Sweet.
I think it would have been fine if these other 2 versions didn't exist.
Yeah, and if they just don't have
even the animated movie is a good enough adaptation. So when you try and readapt it and you don't have all the characters to work with because you don't have Batman, you don't have Joker, you don't have Wonder Woman, you don't have Aquaman, and you have to just kind of make weird changes to all the people that the Arrowverse is working with, it doesn't make as much sense. And it's like, okay, fine. Like, you tried. Well, and I think I would have been fine with it. What's that?
I was just saying it needs all those other characters to make it that story.
It was like, and this was always my problem with them with the MCU trying to do Civil War before they actually had the rights to Spider-Man, is Civil War doesn't really work without Spider-Man. And Captain America Civil War is a great movie. But honestly, the fracture between Captain America and Iron Man doesn't really work that well.
It's not that entertaining.
Right. The movie is very entertaining, but what makes them break the Sokovia Accords is kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
So, when you compare it to the Superhero Registration Act and Peter Parker taking off his mask and claiming that he's Spider-Man at the behest of Tony and coming out there and then Aunt May getting killed, like, when you take all of that into account, like, that's really important and really deep. So that was always my thing of, like, how are you going to do Civil War without having that character that has to overcome showing himself in that way?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
They did a good enough job.
They did. It was good.
I'm fine. All right, so let's finish up here. We're going to talk about our top 3 worst, least favorite changes and our top 3 best changes. Which our best ones we've probably actually already covered, but now we're going to rank them because, fuck it, we can. So, top 3 worst Flashpoint changes. What was your number 3?
My number 3.
This could be character specific or the world overall.
My number 3 would be just how much of the Flashpoint world is destroyed. So it just kind of takes a lot of the characters they could play with out of the picture. Like, they had Gorilla Grodd in there. I'd much rather they had fucking Beast Boy or something.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been, Beast Boy would have been fucking dope if he was like the tiger that helps Shazam or just was a gorilla whooping ass on Themyscira. I think the destruction was too widespread.
They almost didn't bring enough of their characters in with these little one-off changes. I could see that. So, my number 3 was that American Idol is inevitable. Even in this messed up world, American Idol still exists. The Shazam kids are sitting there watching it in the 4th book. Fuck That's American Idol.
Yeah, fuck American Idol.
Anyway, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is that Hal Jordan dies. Off screen. Like, you don't even really get to know what's going on.
He crashes into an invisible fleet of Amazon ships.
Is that what happens? See, I thought he was shot down.
No. Well, he might have been shot down. I thought he crashed into the act because there's a fleet of invisible planes, right? That the Amazons have access to. I thought he crashed into them, but maybe he got shot down by them. Either way, comes up against a fleet of invisible ships and does not make it out.
Well, it's just I did not like the change from.
Big fan of Hal Jordan.
I love Hal Jordan and his like charismatic heroism, but it just doesn't
I'll even
exist.
ride a little bit for the Green Lantern movie. Parallax as a floating cloud, not great. But Ryan Reynolds, I liked Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, the suit looked goofy, but I like Ryan Reynolds in pretty much anything. And it was kind of cool to see some of the things that they did with the ring in the movie.
Yeah,
I'm okay watching. It's not a good movie,
they need to
but
just
I'll watch it if
reboot
it's
that
on.
shit
I'll
as
watch it
with
if it's on
Idris
TV
Elba. Oh, I would too, but I'd much rather see Idris Elba as Green
as
Lantern.
Jon Stewart. Yeah, that'd be
Fuck
pretty dope.
yes.
I still like Tyrese as Jon Stewart too.
Hell no. You
Tyrese is
need
out there gunning for it, man.
no way, dude. Nope. I would actively boycott that shithole of a movie.
I would be there on day one, man. Love Tyrese. Shout out Roman Pierce. Anybody who's listened to our anybody who's listened to our Fast and Furious movie superlatives, you know Roman's the best family member. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
my number 2 issue was Element Woman's prominence, and I don't know anything about Element Woman. I honestly didn't know she existed before I read this, and after I don't know, probably next week, I'll forget that she existed.
Yeah.
And like they just kind of threw her into 2011 as a time where the quirky girl is at an all-time high in popularity, right? So
Pretty
it feels
much.
like they just kind of threw her in there to be the quirky girl for the sake of having a quirky girl.
Like the
And like,
quirky wallflower type shit.
right. I don't have a problem with any other prominent woman in there. Throw Raven in there. Throw I don't know, shit, what are some other
Fucking
women superheroes?
Starfire or
Starfire, Huntress, fucking
yeah, Huntress would have been
Batwoman,
dope.
like any of these people you can throw in there. I I just didn't get Element Woman and what she was, and I think this kind of goes along with what you said is they kind of wasted time on these things that we don't really care about where they could have put in other characters and made it more fun and interesting.
Yeah.
Like
I mean that
you could put Harley Quinn in that role. Like give Harley Quinn something to do, you know?
well there'd be no Harley without Joker.
I guess. But you know, I'm just throwing things out. Put Black Canary in there. Like there's a lot of women out there that you could put in other than Element Woman, and I would be more interested in seeing what happens to them.
Well, here's my number one, and that kind of goes with that with your point quite a bit. Is I was really fucking pissed that they used Enchantress as the double crosser and like the
Yep.
hinge
Enchantress
point
had a big role too. Yep.
for Wonder Woman's plan and shit like that. Like Wonder Woman
They're
would have
setting
been
up for a
wiped
Suicide
out.
Squad movie, man.
Fucking dumb. Like why didn't you use Raven? Like Raven would have been way cooler. Way fucking cooler. And it just makes zero sense in my opinion why Enchantress would her sole reasoning is I just want to have fun. What it's
Yeah,
like
basically the I just want to watch the world burn type thing.
well no. No. It's so stupid. And that was
Yeah.
kind of my that goes the Enchantress I know is like demonic, bro. She's an anti-hero, not a Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
Where I mean Harley Quinn's an anti-hero, but she
Well, that's what they're trying to sell her as now.
yeah. Yeah.
My number 1 is strictly movie based. So
Yeah.
we find out in the movie that the war started because the Atlanteans and the Amazons actually made a peace agreement between Atlantis and Themyscira. And then Aquaman and Wonder Woman actually bone. And Mira sees this, and because she saw that, she tries to attack Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman kills her. So, basic same inciting incident, Wonder Woman kills Mira, right? I don't like that this full-out war broke out over petty jealousy and over like Aquaman's infidelity. Like I don't feel like he would do that. And then I also don't feel that Mira would just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go fucking kill her." Like I don't like that. That's the reason. It's in the comics we get a little bit deeper. It's Orm that coerces her to go try and kill Wonder Woman rather than her just being like, "Oh no, she took my boyfriend."
Hiya!
Yeah, like it feels cheap in the movie, and I get why they did it because it's kind of a quicker, it's a shortcut to the storytelling to get to what the actual important thing is, that Wonder Woman kills Mira.
Hmm.
But I just didn't like that as being this inciting incident for this huge war.
I'll agree with that.
All right, now we're going to move on to the top 3 best Flashpoint changes. But before we get that, we're going to the Twitter wall because we had a poll today. Twitter polls every week before we record, mostly every week. That's at APA something. And I said, basically, what is your favorite character change from Flashpoint? The first option was Wonder Woman / I didn't spell Aquaman right, but it was supposed to be Aquaman. And then next option was Batman / Joker. Third option was Superman. Fourth option, as always, is Other. Wonder Woman Aquaman got 32% of the vote. Batman and Joker ran away with this, obviously, as we've talked about here, with 57% of the vote. Superman got 8%, and Other got 3%. From Rudy Campos Jr. at Sweep the League, he said seeing Martha Wayne as the Joker is one of the greatest moments in comic history, which I'll have to agree. When I read that, I just had to stop the first time.
Dude.
Not this time because I knew it was coming, but that first time because Thomas Wayne keeps alluding to what's going on with the Joker. He's chasing Yo-Yo the first time we see him, and he's like, "Where's the Joker? What is the Joker doing?" Can't find her, And then in his first book and a half, I want to say, we still have no idea. Where's the Joker? I'm trying to find her. I gotta find her. And you just kept hearing her, but you didn't know it was Martha yet. And then even in the second book, you see that it's a woman, but you still don't know that it's Martha Wayne. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden in the third book, you're hit with, oh shit, that's Martha Wayne.
Yeah, and she stole some kids. Yeah. But with that character, the way they design it is you do feel for her. It is that's a definitive.
You get how she can make that break, yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's a definitive origin story for the Joker instead of all the ambiguity,
I kind of like the ambiguity too.
But it's a 50-50 thing.
Yeah. From David Kosloff, #Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's at David Kosloff. Thomas Wayne Flashpoint Batman and Martha Wayne Joker were the greatest things that ever happened on the comic arc. I am glad they continued to have Flashpoint Batman. I love Flashpoint Batman, one of the best characters ever. We all agree. Eric Mikkels at Duskverse Tweak. Shazam, which was that was another. He said he really liked that the 7 kids, but it's actually 6 kids, but the 7 kids each have a power of the wizard, which we talked about that. That's cool.
I thought that was pretty cool.
So shout out to you guys. Thank you for participating. Now that we're back in it, hopefully we get more participation next time. I was a little sad that only 3 responses here. But I just think also we got 63 votes, and the vast majority of them are for Batman and the Joker, and the 2 people that did respond citing Batman and the Joker, that's all there is to say about it. It's the best, and anybody who's read it knows
agrees.
That. Yeah.
Well, I think Flashpoint is still a relatively obscure thing. If they made a big screen movie about it, I think we would have got way more responses, but
I think in DC circles it's big though, because Flashpoint is basically Civil War for DC.
Or but DC circles are pretty small.
Well, that's true. What would you say, Crisis on Infinite Earth or Flashpoint is the Civil War type event? Because Civil War to me is the biggest thing in Marvel, right?
Crisis. I'd say Crisis.
Crisis, yeah. I still haven't read Crisis. That's my next one. The Suck My Fanfic guys said it's very steeped in lore though, so I might have trouble with it.
Yeah, it's intense.
Fucking DC lore.
Fucking DC lore.
All right, let's talk about our top 3 best Flashpoint changes. I'll go first. My number 3 is what?
Sorry.
You went first last time.
I just thought it was funny. Let's talk about her number. I'll go first.
Yeah, you don't even get to talk anymore. I'm just gonna talk about my first 3. You could just hang up now. My number 3 is the covers of Flashpoint. Not necessarily a change, but I'm still counting it. Every single one of the Flashpoint covers, at least of the main 5, are fire.
Yeah, they're
I've
fucking
got a couple
dope.
mounted around my room. I can't look at them now because I'm in a hotel, but they're awesome. Every single one of them.
I need to bust mine out of storage.
They're good covers.
They are good covers. The art in this series is fantastic.
Really good. And I'm not usually I barely pay attention to the art as I'm going through comic books, and I know that's sacrilegious. That's 60% of the fun of them. But I get so into the story, I'm reading it, that sometimes the pictures just go out of my mind. But in this, they stick out really well. What is your number 3 best Flashpoint change?
It's Well, I just mentioned it a minute ago, and that's the character. I just mentioned it a bit ago, and that's the character arc of the Joker. That was my favorite change that we got, a definitive origin story, and it's Martha fucking Wayne. Thought that was super dope.
That's my number 2. So I'm better,
Damn it.
obviously.
Damn it.
It was Thomas and Martha together as Batman and the Joker. It's just an amazing what if scenario. And as we've said, I would read a full run of this storyline. As many books as you want to put out, I would read them. But I also love the 3 books that we got because it is kind of its own self-contained story too. We don't need more of it. More of it would be cool, but we have everything we need in those 3 books.
I agree. I
And
agree 100%.
it gives you this depth into how trauma can affect people in different ways and how the shared trauma like led Batman and Joker to an understanding of why each of them turned into what they are, and they can't actually bring themselves to stop one another ever.
You know, they'd like to.
Yes, they want to. Like, they know they have to, but they can't. And it's only by accident that Martha even dies.
Yeah. Huh.
What was
Does
your
Thomas end up dying in the end?
Yes.
I didn't know. Yeah, he did die
He kind of
right
got the shit
before.
beat out of him, and then he, like, says a word as Barry leaves.
Okay.
Depending on how fast Barry ran, maybe he undid it before he actually died, but doesn't really matter because
I'd be interested.
it doesn't exist anymore.
True.
In the movie, it's pretty definitive that he's dead.
Okay, I'll just go with that then.
Yeah.
Okay. My second favorite thing they changed about this is that there's no godlike pariah. All these characters are insane, like they're super strong and stuff like that. They're all superheroes, but they seem to be on a regular playing field with each other. There's a lot of stalemates going on and stuff like that. There's no clear-cut winner. There's no clear-cut right or clear-cut wrong. There's no North Star. Like Superman always is the fucking North Star.
Right.
Or, Batman
Aquaman and Wonder Woman both think they're right, but they're both extremely wrong in how they're going about proving they're right.
Yeah, so that was one of my favorite things that they changed is that they just kind of removed that Jesus figure. And I don't mean to say that as like a knock on religion or anything.
No, I get it. Like, Superman's always the trump card. Whatever you throw at them, Superman comes in and it's over. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And he's always working for the side of good, except in things like this and Injustice, where he's not. They have to put him through all these hoops, so he's not perfect. So it is cool to see kind of all of these heroes that are usually perfect and upstanding. Wonder Woman's kind of in the same boat usually. It's cool to see them as these flawed individuals.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was my number 2.
My number 1. The thing I like most is how Barry is thrust into the leadership role. And we touched on this before, and he fulfills it without batting an eye. He's faced with this decision of being able to be with his mother and restoring an actual hopeful world that is worth saving. And not only does he make the moral choice, the for the greater good choice, but on his way to solving it, he creates a new Justice League out of thin air while he's trying to figure out how to do it. He's the one that convinces Batman. He's the one that has to get Cyborg to round up everybody again. He's the one that holds everyone together in this. And we talked about it before, how usually it's Batman or Superman doing those things. And it's really cool to see Barry do that, for him to convince everyone that fighting is the right thing to do, even though no one really wants to.
Especially when he's not really a fighter.
Right. He's a thinker, and I'll do what I have to, but Batman and Superman, you guys handle all the strategizing and the actual fighting, and just let me know what I need to do. But it was cool to see him thrust into that leadership role, and it just shows you how brave and heroic he can actually be when he needs to. Mm-hmm. But you don't get a lot in these crossovers, because usually it's Superman or Batman coming to the front.
Exactly. And that kind of segues us right into my number 1, which is basically the same fucking thing. I really loved that the biggest change was the focal point of the story, which was the Flash, and I thought it was really, really cool that they could put together a story that made sense and was fantastic and will go down as one of the best series in DC history, focused on the Flash, when, 10 years, not 10 years, but 6, 7, 8 years later, they try to do the same thing with Batman with, Dark Knight's Metal, and it wasn't
Dark Knight's Metal was trash.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
But
so I thought that was fantastic that they were able to pull that off.
I don't want to get off onto Dark Knight Metals, because I don't think it was Batman's fault that it wasn't good. It was written weirdly.
written like shit, dude.
The way it was spread out and how they kept trying to dig into the lore that didn't actually matter to what was going on didn't make any sense. Like, Batman needed to stop these other beings. Hawkman didn't fucking matter. But let's keep talking about what Hawkman did 6,000 years ago.
Exactly. And I don't care, and I don't care about the 9,000 spinoffs. Like,
yeah. Dark Knight Metals
made zero sense without the spinoffs.
Yeah. The reason I read it was because the alternate Batmans looked so cool. Like, they looked cool. I would see toys of them. I would see them on pictures, things like that. And I was like, okay, well, what happens? Like, why is Batman wearing a Flash costume with devil horns, basically? So I wanted to read more about that. And I just got lost in it. Like, it didn't make sense. I didn't get lost in it in a good way. It just boggled my mind. It's garbage.
Yeah, I couldn't wrap my head around it. And I like to consider myself a fairly intelligent person, as I think you are as well. And it was just like, huh?
It's a tough hang. Don't read Dark Knight Metals if you don't have to. Just buy the toys because they look cool.
They do look super dope.
Do we have anything else to say on Flashpoint?
I think that's it.
I think that's it too. Cool. Thank you for listening. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at APA something, at alone_podcast. Also check out the You Are All Alone podcast. It's this cool story told by some dude about some other dude. So listen to that. Do you want to give more context to that, or you good with my description?
Sorry, you cut out.
Oh, you'll just have to wait till you hear this live then to see what I said about your podcast.
Well, you could check it out, guys. Calvin does some lines on there. It's very dope. It's a fun ride. We're slowly gaining
really
more
like
followers.
It when you finally listen to this.
Oh, did you say I'm not gonna like it?
No, I said you're really gonna like it when you hear what I said about it.
Okay,
cool.
It's
a great description. Don't worry.
Love it.
We also have a Patreon where we're doing movie reviews, TV show reviews. I do my NFL can't miss picks, which have been anything but can't miss picks so far. Hoping to turn that around sometime, but it's been a rough NFL season for me. There's some weird stuff going on in the NFL.
Seriously, I'm 1-3 in fantasy right now.
I'm not doing good in fantasy either, except in the Superflex League because I have 15 quarterbacks, so that's nice. But yeah, check all that stuff out over at Patreon and everywhere else, and rate and review us on iTunes, all that good stuff. All of the music for Podcast About Something is provided by Those Cats.
And you guys stay sassy.
Stay classy.